Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, what a pleasure it is to have our chief from our First Nations with us here this evening. As many of you know, the program was changed, and what we have here is not only the leadership of LIUNA from coast to coast in this beautiful country, but we also have a number of their spouses and girlfriends and mistresses, I'm sure. This is a tough group. This is a very tough group. I really don't know if the chief knows what he's getting himself into.
Now he does.
Back in 2004, we had the honor and the privilege of having our first meeting with Chief Phil Fontaine in Ottawa. And since then, we've had a number of meetings where we have discussed a number of issues on education, on training, on employment opportunities for First Nations youth, which really appeals to LIUNA in particular, since we know that many of our local unions have a skill shortage in a number of our locals coast to coast, and why should we be looking at foreign workers and looking at other methods of filling that void and that need that we have? We should be really looking internally and looking at our people, our First Nations people, in order to provide new employment not only for their youth, but to provide good members for our great international union. So I believe that we have the beginning of an exceptional relationship with what I believe one of the most honorable and respected organizations in this country, and that is the First Nations Assembly of Canada. So, ladies and gentlemen, after many meetings, we have concluded with a memorandum of understanding that we want to present to you here this evening and execute. We're not going to fully execute it because we're going to sign it this evening, and then we're going to invite Chief Fontaine to Washington as well for a small ceremony there, because our intention is that when he is in Washington, and General President O'Sullivan, who could not be with us here this evening, had to fly back this morning, our intention is that at the signing ceremony, we will also be presenting Chief Fontaine with an honorary membership card in the Labor's International Union of North America. I would like, before we continue, the staff of Central and Eastern Canada Regional Office to please join us here, and the staff of the Western Canada Sub-Regional Office to also join us up here as well. Local 92 representatives, Mike Reed, Lenny O'Toole, please join us up here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is truly a historic occasion. This is a very small podium. If everybody was my size, we'd all fit here. This is a very historic day for our organization when we can initiate the very beginning of the relationship with the First Nations Assembly. Working together on youth programs, housing initiatives, healthcare initiatives, partnering in investments that will benefit the First Nation. We have a memorandum this evening that states, let me just put my glasses on, and I'm just going to read you some of the highlights of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Labor's International Union of North America and the National Indian Brotherhood, incorporated under the laws of Canada and serving as the Secretary of the Assembly of the First Nations. LIUNA will recognize that the First Nation governments and its related socioeconomic development needs are the key principle of the Memorandum of Understanding. And that was easy lifting for our organization. The signatories of this memorandum of understanding agree that, number one, LIUNA will take up that the AFN's challenge to corporate Canada to work with the AFN and interested First Nations to help make a difference in local and regional economic development and the development of First Nations human resource potential. Number two, that LIUNA will participate in meetings of the National Chiefs Corporate Table twice a year. Number three, that LIUNA and AFN will prepare a joint 2-year work plan to engage, increase and promote partnerships, investments and procurement, and employment with respect to First Nations and their citizens. The results of this work will be reported on, at a minimum, once a year at the AFN's and LIUNA's respective authorities. This will include all LIUNA locals, all pertinent government agencies and agents, and C, all provincial government agencies and agents. Number four, the AFN will invite LIUNA to make presentation to its Chiefs Committee on Economic Development once a year. The AFN will involve LIUNA in a technical planning event of the First Nations Economic Blueprint, Theme 3 on First Nation labor force and human resources development. LIUNA recognizes the jurisdictional authority of First Nations communities respecting First Nation territory and First Nation citizenry. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a number of other points here, but it gives you an idea and a flavor of our intent to work together as two organizations, to work together with one of the most important governments in this country, and that is the First Nations Assembly. I am proud that Chief Fontaine is with us this evening. I couldn't be prouder to be forging ahead with all of you in this room, all the local unions from coast to coast in Canada. All the leadership is here from British Columbia to St. John's, Newfoundland. And we're very proud to have Chief Fontaine with us. In 1973, as a kid, he was elected for the very first time as chief of his own community. And then since then, in 1980, a few short years later, he completed his political science degree at the University of Manitoba. And it shows you that the political science degree has come in handy with his dealings with the federal government. And we wish you a lot of luck as you go forward. And it's not luck, it's the hard work and the dedication that you have that makes those negotiations with our federal government productive. He has been elected Grand Chief of various assemblies and councils, and in 1997, brothers and sisters, he was elected as National Chief of the First Nations. He is a visionary, he is hardworking, he is a dedicated worker, he is a true leader, and because of that hard work, he is a true laborer. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, please welcome the National Chief of our Assembly of First Nations, Phil Fontaine.